You are now watching The Meech.
As I'm sure some of you have seen, I did a community post asking you guys if you want to see a Wii U overview and if it's worth getting in the year 2021. I finished the script for the video, just needed to record the audio and get the footage. However, a crucial piece of information has surfaced that may change a lot of your minds on whether or not it's worth getting in 2021. I made sure to state in the video that I'm not sure how much longer the eShop will be up for, as for the online servers, which are strangely still up. But regardless, Nintendo confirmed today that as of 2022, you will no longer be able to use a credit card on the Nintendo 3DS or Wii U eShop. You probably could still use the eShop cards, but what does this mean? Well, it's not really good news. This essentially translates to, hey, we're liquidating, and then we're going out of business. So don't expect the Wii U or 3DS eShop to make it into the year 2023. But why is this such an issue in the first place? After all, the 3DS and Wii U are dead systems. The Nintendo Switch, however, that's a hot new console. I guess to be the hot new console, you have to have controllers that don't work. But all jokes aside and non-jokes aside, there is a specific reason why this is such a big deal, and it relates to the factor of the Nintendo Switch being horrible when it comes to handling legacy content. As we've seen with the 3DS and Wii U, they had the Virtual Console. If you don't know what the Virtual Console is, it's something that started off on the Wii, allowing players to play classic games on their system and download them via the eShop or Wii Shop. I played a lot of games for the first time on the Wii, like Super Mario Bros., Super Mario 64, and you get them from the Wii Shop, download them, play them with a classic controller. It was great. Then they continued that with a 3DS, mainly focusing on handheld games, though oddly enough, no Game Boy Advance despite them having them in the Ambassador program. And the Wii U, it had pretty much everything. The only things you weren't getting were Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Virtual Boy, and strangely enough GameCube games, but everything else was still there. But with the Nintendo Switch, you have the selection of NES and SNES games that are pulled out of the bargain bin on Nintendo Switch Online, and you have the Arcade Archive series. The Arcade Archive series is cool. I really like that they were able to port the actual arcade versions of their classic games like Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Mario Brothers, because priorly, it always irked me that they used the NES versions that were inferior in every way. But as the saying goes, every step Nintendo takes forward, they take 2 steps back. Though in this case, it's like 1 step forward, 1,000 steps back. There's a reason why the Switch doesn't have a Virtual Console, and while this is just a theory, I've come up with a solid theory as to why it doesn't have a Virtual Console, as you will see in this video. Let's take a look at some of Nintendo's ways of dealing with legacy content. Why is it only NES and SNES games on Switch Online? It's because those games aren't in demand anymore. This isn't 2007 where people want to play Mario 3 again. This is the year 2021. There are many ways to play NES games, and the nostalgia for that has kind of died down. It's essentially like saying in 2007, hey, let's play some Pong on Atari, and essentially a lot of NES games haven't aged well either, especially the sports games. That's not saying the NES is bad. I definitely do think the game should still be on the Switch. As for SNES, the games are great, but yeah, the demand's still not there. What people want to see are Nintendo 64, GameCube, especially GameCube, and Wii games. Most GameCube games have never been re-released. Prices have skyrocketed for retro games, which I'll definitely cover that topic in another video, but the reason why Nintendo doesn't have a Virtual Console on the Switch is because they know fans want these games, but they want to find a way to make them full price. Let's take a look at Super Mario 3D All-Stars. It's a collection of 3 classic Mario games, being Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. But what if you just wanted to play Super Mario 64? Gotta pay $60 for the collection? How about just Super Mario Sunshine? Gotta pay $60 for the collection? It's all or nothing. And that's what Nintendo was able to do. I didn't feel ripped off getting Super Mario 3D All-Stars because I knew what I was getting into, but a lot of people just wanted to play these games for the first time, and oddly enough, Super Mario 3D All-Stars isn't even available anymore. You can still find physical copies, but Nintendo's not officially making them anymore or selling it on the eShop, which is ridiculous. Now we have Skyward Sword HD, and in reality, it's just an upscaled Wii port with a few quality of life improvements to justify it being $60. This is not a remake. Let's take a look at Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. If you look at the original Xenoblade on the Wii, it definitely hasn't aged well. The Switch, however, improved models, textures, made the game look beautiful. That's what you call a remake. Skyward Sword HD, on the other hand, it added a few quality of life improvements, and in reality, is just an upscaled port of the one on the Wii. It's not hard to add things to Wii games. Fans have been doing it for years. They'll actually take existing games and make new games with them. We've seen it with Project M, we've seen it with newer Super Mario Bros. Wii, we've seen it with Custom Track Grand Prix Revolution. There are countless examples. It's a very easy thing to do, especially for Nintendo that actually made the games and has pretty much every resource. So in reality, the reason why we don't have the Virtual Console is because Nintendo wants to find ways to make these classic games full price because they know fans want them. Let's take a look at what's going on with Metroid. Metroid Dread's announced. People want to play the games. Metroid Fusion, which I got for like $35 a few months ago, bam! It's going for like $80 now. Same for Zero Mission. You could get them on the Wii U for $16 total. 8 games per game. Actually, $8 per game. This isn't Kirby we're talking about, this is Metroid. So let's come up with scenarios of what Nintendo could do. They could have Metroid Classic Collection, which includes all the 2D Metroid games, really doesn't do anything with them, and charges $60 for them. And Nintendo does have a pricing thing in mind, because if you look at the prices of Virtual Console games, Wii games were the most expensive, being $20, then we got N64 being $10, SNES and Game Boy Advance $8, and NES games $5. So let's see, if they included Metroid, $5, Super Metroid, $8, the Game Boy games were also like $4, so yeah, it'd be a lot less than $60, but Nintendo would charge you for that, because those games are in high demand. They could also do a Pokemon Classic Collection, although that's mainly a Game Freak thing, because as you've seen with the Pokemon games, they have skyrocketed in price, especially the Game Boy Advance and DS games, so they'd probably create a Classic Collection of sorts and charge $60 for that. It's probably not because the games on the second market have raised so much in price, it's just Nintendo wants to find ways to make these games seem worth $60, because in the past, they had pricing guidelines like I said before. What are some other things they could do? They could have Donkey Kong Country Returns HD with a new funky mode, a few quality of life improvements, and it essentially looks like the upscaled Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Chinese Nvidia Shield. They could also do Mario Kart Wii HD, which has better item balance, but really doesn't improve anything. And if you've ever seen Mario Kart Wii, that isn't really a good looking game to begin with. As much as I love Mario Kart Wii, I'll be the first to admit that that game does not look good, especially compared to the Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix games, which are running on the same hardware. If you look at the models, they're very low poly, and if they were upscaled in HD, they would look incredibly awkward. But I could definitely see Nintendo doing that since people want to play Mario Kart Wii. So, to sum everything up, Nintendo is making these games available, but they want to find ways to make them $60 by calling it a remaster or bundling them with a collection. That's why there's no Virtual Console on the Switch, so expect more things like Skyward Sword HD and Super Mario 3D All-Stars in the near future. But that's just my opinion, I'm just summarizing my thoughts, theory, definitely not conclusive evidence as to why there's not a Virtual Console. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and keep calm and Dada on.